Hey, family. I am just getting situated here. Let me make sure I'm muting myself on this screen. How's everyone doing? If you're here, please let me know. Drop a message in the chat. And while you're doing that, I am going to promote this live on on LinkedIn and Facebook and all of these other platforms. But yeah, if you're here, let me know that you're here so that I can give you a shout out. Let me see. All right, let me go over to LinkedIn and post the photo on LinkedIn. How's everyone doing? First of all, I am Maria Lloyd. I'm founder of a marketing firm named Opens Clicks Cash. I am also the author of a book titled Words Are Wealth, and I am the chief marketing officer for an influencer brand named Black with No Chaser. Welcome. If this is your first time here, if you're returning, welcome once again. Our special guest is actually coming on now. I just saw her enter the room, so let me let her in. Hey Rita, we're live, just so that you know. I don't want you to you know, say anything that you may not want folks to know
Hilarious.
just yet. But yeah, welcome Rita.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. It's nice to see you in face.
I know, right? I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to us seeing each other in like real life. That's the part that I'm like really looking forward to. But you know what? This will work for now. I am
You are
just
welcome.
posting on YouTube just so that I'm sorry, not posting on YouTube. I am posting on LinkedIn and Facebook to let people know that we are live. And then we'll jump right in. So wait, how are you first of all? What time is it in Kenya?
Oh, it's 5 o'clock. And I forget with the time zone changes. So,
Yeah.
usually we're 8 hours ahead. And with the time zone right now, we're only 7 hours ahead. So I messed
Yeah.
it up a little bit in my mind of like timing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, it's going on 5 p.m. Friday, Nairobi, and the streets are hectic. The people are outside, and here we are.
Are there still protests happening in Kenya right now?
Yes, absolutely. I just got
Oh,
stuck in the middle of something right now that was really kind of not the best. We all kind of got, so I ride a motorcycle, and honestly, that's the only way to get around our Nairobi traffic, And
okay.
the cops totally stopped us, like all of the cars, all of the bikes. So there must have been on both sides of the road, oof, maybe like 50 bikes on both sides plus the thing. And then one of these motorcades came through, and it's just we got a lot going on. We've got a lot
Oh,
going on.
wow.
We got a lot
And
going on.
kind of briefly like school us on what is the cause of the conflict? What's happening over there?
Okay, so I'm gonna say this as diplomatically as possible,
Mhm.
but basically, our president is not for the people. He
Mm.
came in on a whole agenda of being for the people. Look how, like, look at how woke I am with what you guys are doing, and everything he said was a lie. He has hiked up the taxes, and the cost of living is soaring. The cost for business it's so expensive right now. All of the staples are about to get food staples, gas, all of these are about to go up in price because we've just passed a new finance bill, and the people are mad. There's no work, there's no jobs. People are really struggling. That's why you're seeing such an exodus of people going to the Middle East to take up a lot of these little jobs, like
Mhm.
house girl jobs, working as security guards, working in the hotels. But you don't want a drain of your people leaving because of this. And
Exactly.
he hasn't he should be doing a lot better for us, and the people are really, really, really upset.
Ah, yeah, I hate to hear that. It seems like there are like I think globally, the sentiments are pretty much the same with regard to leadership. It seems like a lot of countries, a lot of citizens and countries around the world, rather, are displeased with their leadership. So I don't know what's happening, but something is definitely happening, and I just hope that we are all able to, you know, change the corruption in government and all of this other nonsense that's happening with our government. Wow.
It's nuts how it's everywhere. And quite frankly, I'll be honest with you, if all of us women really got together under understanding just being a woman, not taking into account race,
Yeah.
this whole landscape would be very different, quite frankly.
And all of this other nonsense.
All I feel is though what we are seeing is men are consistently and constantly showing us that they do not need to be in positions of leadership. And it's just that simple. And it would be really nice if women would get that together and vote for other women and get this done.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I'm sure that the men who are going to watch this video or even are watching this video in real time are probably thinking to themselves, oh gosh, here goes those women with those Western feminist ideologies. But I think
Yeah,
that we've had enough recorded history throughout the existence of mankind to know that at this juncture, we've tried it their way for a very long time. And what we
exactly.
keep running up against is war, and theft, and yeah, all sorts of really, barbaric
Sexual
things.
deviancy. Let's just talk
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, yeah.
Right?
So
Where
it's
it's
time
like,
to shift.
what are these are men who are supposed to, well, listen, we are about to be off topic, girl. We are going to go all the way off. And you know what? We don't need to lose the audience because they did not come
Right.
over here today to discuss that. If they want to hear this, we could talk about this with them later.
We
But
definitely
it's
can.
just, you know,
Yeah.
ladies, let's get together.
I hear you. Trust me, I'm with you. So, okay, with that being said, once more, thank you so much for being here. I am literally just trying to get all of my little windows situated. I have way
No
too
problem.
many windows open, so I'm
No
just
problem.
trying to get some things closed, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. So
Okay.
let me minimize this one, and then we're gonna get started here. And so, if you're watching this live, like I said in the very beginning, please drop us a comment so that we can know that you're here. It's always good to interact with people in real time. So, if you are here live, please drop a comment. If you're watching the replay, drop a
Let me just
comment.
open that. 1 second. I'll be
Okay,
right
go
back.
ahead. Yeah. I am very responsive to comments. I don't know if you all notice that, but I do respond to comments. I enjoy interacting and engaging with people in the comments. So if you're watching the replay, still leave a comment. But if you're here live with us right now, definitely, leave us a comment so that I can know that you're here and we can shout you out. So if you are unaware, the reason why we are here today is because we're going to talk about medical tourism in Kenya. We hear a lot of these countries that are brought up, like India, for example, is really big in the medical tourism space. Canada even is really big, especially for those of us in the United States, is really big in the medical tourism space. And then a lot of countries in South America are really big in the tourism space. Brazil as well is big in the tourism space, but there's very to little mention, at least in mainstream media, about Kenya. And Kenya
Correct.
actually, and we'll get into this a little later, but Kenya has been like at the forefront of this for quite some time and definitely the leading nation in the entire continent of Africa when it comes to medical tourism. So, with that being said, I want to give my special guest here, the fabulous Rita. And Rita, you know what? I just realized I've never said your last name before, so I just wanted let me try it. So
Go
Rita
for it.
Mavunda.
There you
Oh,
go.
perfect.
Mavunda. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So I want to give Rita an opportunity to introduce herself. Rita, could you tell us who you are and what led you to Kenya? Let's start there because you don't sound like, you were
No,
born and
I
raised
sound
in
very
Kenya.
American. Yes, I sound very
Exactly. You
American.
definitely sound American.
Um, yes. So like you said, my name is Rita Mavunda. And let's see, a little bit about myself. I am a real citizen of the world. I was born in Krakow in Poland. My mom is Indian, Gujarati Indian from Kenya. We can do a whole history lesson of why there are so many Indians in East Africa. Again,
Mm,
that's due to the British. Well, The mass of them British, but they've been here for a very long time. And my father is from DRC Congo. And so I moved to the UK for a few years when I was a child, and then I moved to the States. And then I claim Miami as my main place, you know, MIA 305 Dade County, for those of you who know. And I grew up in Miami. And Miami is a very, very international town. Miami is filled with a lot of different Hispanics. So I speak English, obviously. I speak an Indian language. I speak Gujarati fluently. My Spanish ain't nothing to play with. And I also do, when I'm in French-speaking countries, my French tends to come back. So I've been raised by doctors, you know, most Indians, right? All of us were doctors or pharmacists or, you know, in IT. And so I never wanted to go down the medical school route. I actually ended up going to law school. And I went to law school. I went to undergrad in law school in DC. And then after law school, I moved down back to Miami. And then I worked in Miami as a lawyer for about 8-9 years. And then I moved to New York. And then I worked in Manhattan for like another, you know, 8-9 years. And then one day I was looking around at my colleagues and I thought to myself, if this is what it's going to look like in another 10 years, I might as well go do something different. So for me, I've been coming to Kenya my whole life. I've been coming here since I was about 5 years old. I know the accent is strong, but I'm very, very well acquainted with Kenya. I've been coming here since I was 5. And there was a real big part of me that I wanted to be in Kenya, and I wanted to know what it would be like to be here as an adult. And I also wanted to live here because, you know, both of my parents were born and raised in this continent, right? They were both raised here. They left to do their schooling and their education, but I've only ever come as a tourist. I've never come to live and work. So I really wanted to come back and just be where my parents were born and raised. And that's what brought me here. And then we started different types of work, right? So we started our business. So when I first moved here, I was definitely figuring out certain things. I wanted to make sure I could get my citizenship so that I couldn't be, you know, kicked out of the country. And we worked through like a lot of different things, came up with a lot of different ideas. You know, you guys know, as like business people, you gotta be fluid and flexible and figure out what works for you. And very surprisingly, as much as I didn't want to be a doctor or be in the medical field, I ended up opening a pharmaceutical company.
Wow.
And so we started our pharmaceutical company. It's called Tashana Investment Africa. And we do a lot of really healthy products. I'm really big into health. I'm really big into nutrition. I'm really big into whatever you can do naturally, do it naturally before you've got to go over to the pharma side. So that's how we started. That's how I got here. And it's kind of been through Tashana that has now led us to here and being part of Ties and Connections.
Wow. Well, first of all, I mean, thank you for sharing. Like, your story is so interesting. Like you said, you really are a citizen of the world. And it was interesting when you opened up your like statements or remarks rather. And with that sentence, I was like, I literally say this all of the time. Like, I am a citizen of the world, right? Yes, I have the American accent, but I am a citizen of the world. So anyway, okay. Let's get into, because this is so funny when you said, yeah, you were trying to avoid the whole medical space, but yet here you are in the medical space, following the footsteps of your family. So let's talk about that. Could you tell us about your business named Ties and Connections? I'm really interested in hearing about this one.
Sure. So we kind of moved into this space for like a few different reasons, right? So one
Mm-hmm.
of the reasons why we called the business Ties and Connections is because we want to be your tie and your connection to this country, right? I believe all of us know, especially again in any industry, right? A lot of people are able to get a lot of things done, get a lot of things moving because they've got the right ties and the right connections to different people.
Exactly. Yeah.
When I moved here, I have a lot of family who live here, and a lot of them are quite connected, but none of them really have helped me out, right? You know, how they say your friends and your family aren't really your business. It's going to be the people who understand your vision. I
Yep.
definitely learned that firsthand. You know, I really was like, oh, they're going to help me out. It's going to be great. No, okay. They'll invite you over for dinner, right? And they'll be like, hey, yeah, come over. But absent that, a lot of this hustle is by yourself and doing what you need to do. So one of the reasons why we called this Business Ties and Connections was we wanted to be a tie and connection for you, make it easier, have a softer landing for people to come here. And so we have kind of two different aspects, because I have started a business here in Kenya as well as I have a business in Ghana. We wanted to provide business services for people who wanted to come here and open up stuff. But through our nutraceutical business, and we meet with a lot of doctors, a lot of clinics, a lot of pharmacies. We've got a great distributor with a really good network, and we sell a lot of our products to fertility clinics.
Mm,
And we're going into a lot of these different places. So we kind of were like, well, why don't we just utilize all of the different skills that we have? Why not put
exactly.
everything under one umbrella? And so Ties and Connections just kind of came out of that, from all of the different experiences we've had, from the our different backgrounds, our educational backgrounds, and all of that. Ties and Connections is a way for you to be able to come here, have a soft landing, and be able to do business services, but also do a lot of medical tourism.
Oh, I love that. And I think this is a great segue into my next question for you, which is like, what is medical tourism? What is that?
Okay. So medical tourism is also like health tourism. And basically,
Mm-hmm.
it's exactly what it sounds like. It is being able to travel to another country and be able to do different types of medical services. You can do medical services which are life saving, as well as doing non elective procedures. We end up, this is a really big growing field. As you mentioned in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of our conversation, there are so many different countries in the world where people are going for all types of different medical tourisms, right? We see the memes all the time from Atlanta where the ladies are in the wheelchair because they've gone down to the DR to do their BBLs. But
Exactly.
what you start to realize is that this is a really big growing trend, and it's being able to give different options, different choices at something that's much more affordable, and adding a little bit of travel.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think that like you said, we definitely are seeing the memes. We're seeing all of that with the ladies in the wheelchair. And like you said, it's always like it's never an African nation, which I don't understand because why not utilize this as an opportunity to be on the
Absolutely.
continent?
Absolutely.
And especially a country like Kenya, which is
Absolutely.
absolutely stunning and has so much to
Absolutely.
offer.
Absolutely.
So I think even just like as someone is getting prepared for, I mean, because this is major surgery oftentimes that we're talking about. And so I think that even as you're getting prepared, mentally prepared for what's to come with the surgery, why not be in a country that is just absolutely stunning and has so much to offer you? So yeah, thank you for giving that really great, like simplistic explanation of medical tourism. So let me ask you this: what type of people usually utilize this service? I know we just brought up like, the ladies getting the BBLs and stuff like that, but like, let's go into a little bit more detail in terms of the type of people, because I think oftentimes there's this assumption that you've got to be rich to
Mm-hmm.
embark upon this medical tourism journey. And so we do see or hear about the British, for example, traveling
Mm-hmm.
over to Kenya. They're on top of game already. They already know that Kenya is where it's at as it
Mm-hmm.
relates to medical tourism. But again, this perception that you've got to be wealthy or rich to take advantage of medical tourism. Could you speak to that, please?
Yeah, that's totally a misnomer. That's not true, right? So, kind of just to even touch a little bit on what you had said, right? Why don't people come to Africa? Why are people so scared to come over here, right? And the biggest reason is marketing, right? Remember growing up, the only things you ever saw about Africa were the UNSF commercials where they had the kids that were covered in dirt with flies on their eyes, right?
Yeah.
And for those of you guys who have never been to this continent or are, we live really well. We live really,
Yeah.
really well. That is not what the continent is like. That is not what any of that is like. I mean, obviously, I'm in Kenya, so I'm biased, but I do travel a lot. I have traveled extensively globally. We have everything in Kenya. We have absolutely
Hmm.
everything. Right now, fine, we're having these issues that are economic with our president, but that, especially for people who are coming into this country with currencies that are indifferent, this is a great place to live, right? So that's number
Yeah.
one. So marketing has made this place like that. Now, It is also very affordable. These services that we're offering over here are services that you can get in other countries. What we're offering you is affordability. And within that affordability space, we're giving you a lot of choices. So this is our services that we're offering are not for like, you know, the Jeff Bezos. No. We're not even talking about the people who are millionaires. No. We are talking, these are services that are for regular people. Are you a teacher? Are you a nurse? Are you somebody who is like a blue collar worker? This is the space for you. Everything is available for you. So this is not medical tourism that happens in Kenya is not for the rich. This is actually for people who can't afford it, where maybe you've looked at certain things, you've done some cost analysis, you've gone to different countries to look at what it is. Kenya is going to be able to give you the very same services, probably even better, because our medical care here is, I'm going to go ahead and say, the best on the continent. I know my South African brothers are going to be like, hey, wait a minute, what are you talking about?
Right. I'm like, hold
But
up now. Wait a minute.
exactly, like, hold on, don't talk about us. And
You
I'm
know
not
I love
saying,
South Africa.
you know, I know you do, right? And again, I think, you know, top 5 here, obviously South Africa is definitely top 5 for all of the things that Kenya is with us. But here, listen, we've got great medical facilities. Our hospitals are some of the best on the continent. We get people who get airlifted to come into Kenya to be able to take advantage of our hospital and healthcare here. Our doctors are very well trained. We have so many different doctors where a lot of them even go and train outside. A lot of them will go to like the UK, Australia, America to go train. And then what's nice is that they bring all of their skills, their expertise, and their education back to the continent. And when you're doing something like that, you are rested assured that you are getting doctors and clinicians and clinics that know what they're doing, licensed, accredited, and they're here to be able to give you the best. Nobody wants to go into this business to give bad service, right?
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
this stuff is by reputation, right? So if you have a doctor who's here, and let's say he's an endocrinologist, let's say he's an orthopedic surgeon, you can't do garbage work even locally, right? Because your
Right.
reputation is going to do that. So medical tourism here in Kenya is available for all economic backgrounds.
Wow. And, you know, because I know that you brought up the whole cost analysis thing. And so I do want us to kind of dive into those numbers. Like, what does that look
Sure.
like? Because oftentimes we do hear, like, okay, so people embark upon this journey of medical tourism for affordability, which is something that you've clearly highlighted. But, like, what does that really look like in
Let's
a
talk
very
numbers.
literal sense?
Yeah,
Yes, let's
let's talk
talk
numbers,
numbers.
right?
So,
We're
yeah,
business people. And the whole thing is
exactly.
that at the end of the day, if the numbers don't make sense, you can talk as much you want to talk, but if the numbers do not make sense, nobody's going to do it. So let me give you some numbers.
Exactly.
So in our medical tourism, what we do offer a host of different types of services, right? So
Okay.
you can come and get dental work. You can come and do your IVF. You can do surrogacy. You can have different types of medical consultations as well as different types of surgeries. You can have bariatric procedures done. You can come and get your Botox done, ladies. You can come and get fillers done, all of that, right? So I'm giving you just a bit of an example of all the things that are available to you. Now, I had a friend of mine, really good friend of mine from Canada. He ended up having kind of like a weird hip issue. He
Mm.
went in Toronto to figure out what the cost would be for a hip replacement in Toronto. They told him it was going to be between $25,000 to $30,000. So he called me and he was like, Rita, like, listen. And I was like, look, we've got great facilities here. We've got Aga Khan Hospital here, Nairobi Hospital, MP Shah. So I made some inquiries, found out who was the best to do this stuff. We were able to bring him over here. He came, stayed in the hospital for 11 days, inclusive of everything, plus post-op, plus the surgery, $11,000.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's actually, yeah,
That
that's
is half.
crazy.
That's half.
Yeah,
Okay. So that's just
exactly.
like one procedure, right? For instance, IVF. We have a lot of people who are doing IVF. Let's say, for instance, your insurance carrier, and I'm saying stateside, does not
Hmm.
include IVF as part of their medical treatment plan.
Hmm.
People are spending between $15,000 to $25,000 for one round of IVF. Here
Unreal.
in Kenya, we can do 1 round of IVF for $7,000. And then let's say you require a second or a third round of IVF, most clinics will give you a discount on your second and third time if it's required. So again,
Wow.
15,000 to 24,000 for 1 round of IVF in the States. Nairobi, we can do it for 7,000. A hip replacement in Toronto between 25 and 30,000. Everything done here, 11,000. We had another patient who had come, who had, one of the issues around IVF, fertility, is if you have extra weight, especially for women, it kind of reduces your fertility chances. So one of our
Mm.
doctors recommended to one of our patients, why don't we do a gastric balloon just for a little bit so that we can bring the weight down and then we can see if it helps with the fertility. So we had our client, she came and she had a gastric balloon put in.
Okay.
It cost $3,000.
Wait, what? That's crazy.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah,
And so
that's
now
nuts.
sometimes
Seriously.
people get this idea where it's like, well, if it's so cheap over there, then the stuff must be, cheap. No,
Inferior. Exactly.
exactly. And no, anybody, for instance, in the US already knows the sham that the medical system is over there. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a
So
joke.
exactly. So you're already paying on the US side. You've got to pay all of the upcharges. You're going to have to pay for the doctor's fees, hospital fees, and everything is going to be marked up at a premium, right? Here
Exactly.
we have
Yeah.
all of the same stuff, but our costs are not as expensive. And because our costs are not as expensive, we are able to offer the same level of care and surgery and all of that just at a cheaper price.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, the breakdown is like exceptional. And I do want to just add here that I'm sure someone at some point will probably say in the comments, well, what about like flight? I mean, the flight, da, da, da. But even if
Oh,
you
we could do girl
factor
math.
in,
Let's
hey,
do
let's
it.
do it. Let's do it.
Okay. So the other day, me and my social media content creator, we were like, you know what we should do? We should do one of these clips that's kind of like girl math, right? Just so that people can understand like the costing. Okay. So I'm going to
Exactly.
use the IVF as my example, just because we just recently made a post about it. And if you look at our socials, you'll be able to see it. Okay. So let's say you're taking a flight from the East Coast to Kenya, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's direct or you have to do a fly through. Let's
Mm-hmm.
put it on around at about $850, okay? So
Okay.
850 for your flight. You've got to stay in Kenya for $50 for your visa, which is good for 3
Okay.
months.
Oh,
So
wow.
what are we at?
Okay.
We're at 900.
Yeah.
Let me do my calculator at the same time so that we are together on this.
Okay.
Okay. So 850 for our flight, right? So 850 for our flight, 50 for our visa. Now you're going to have to stay for 2 weeks. We've
Okay.
got amazing, amazing options in this city, right? So for those of you guys who don't know Nairobi truly is a melting pot, especially here in East Africa. We've got a little bit of everything. We've got a little bit of everybody here in this city. If you want to go and stay somewhere that's like nice, but like not in the city and a little bit outside, we can get you a place that you can go and stay for 2 weeks and live fantastic for like
Mm.
$300. Let's say you want to come and you want to stay in the middle of Nairobi and you want to be in a nice area and be all up in the mix of stuff. Maximum you're going to pay for 2 weeks of staying here in a safe building, in a safe neighborhood with everything that you have. Let's just say it's 500. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just
Yeah.
say it's 500. So we're at 1,400, right?
Right.
Now let's include our 7,000 for the round of IVF. That puts us up at 8,400.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's just round it off and say, let's just make it up to 10 grand. Let's just say 10,000, right? So
Okay.
let's do 10,000 minus the 8,400, right?
Okay.
That is $1,600 USD that you can come sit and play with and do whatever you want to do with those. You want to go out every night and go into a beautiful high-end place and have fantastic food? Do you want to go and get all of the soft living while you're getting your IVF done. And what I'm talking about is, look, when you're going through the IVF process, you're getting needles stuck into you. You've got to go and get ultrasounds, and it feels very invasive, right? You're
Yeah.
feeling like you're touched and you're prodded and all of that. The best counter to that is a massage, a facial, get your nails done. You literally have $1,600 to play with in 2 weeks. And let me tell you, $1,600 in Nairobi, Kenya for any of that is astronomically expensive. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, let's just say we make it a round easy number of 10 grand. 10
Right.
grand is going to get you your ticket, get you your room and board, get you your visa, get you your IVF shots. If you want a nurse to come to the house and give you the shots at home because you don't want to do it yourself, we can add that into it. Do you want to go and do a beautiful safari in Nairobi National Park? Kenya, Nairobi is one of the only cities in the world that has a national park in the city. SA can't claim that. Just saying, my good people. I know y'all got Kruger down there. I got it. But, you know, you got to go a little ways for that. We got it right up the street over here. Okay.
Wow.
Do you want to go and I get my nails done for $15, both hands and feet. My waxing, she comes to the house. It's $10 max. Okay. My massage, my masseuse, he comes to the house. Literally, guys, it's like almost 2 hours for $45.
Oh, wow.
So now just imagine. So that's what I'm saying, right? The sky's the limit. Let's say you don't even want to do that. And the nice thing also with Nairobi, Uber works here. Uber Eats works here.
Yeah.
So let's say you're sitting at home and you don't want to go out, Uber Eats. You want to travel around, go shopping, go hang out, go see some music, go to a live show, comedy show. The beauty of Nairobi is we have everything here.
Yeah.
We have everything that will cater to everybody. So again, doing the girl math, for 10 grand, you could get your IVF cycle done, get your passport stamped, have a really nice, soft feel and landing to having your IVF, or you're going to pay for one round if you don't have insurance at the cheaper end, 15,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not out of reach. And again, I'm saying 10,000 is a big budget, right? $1,600 for all of your extracurricular is a very big budget for Nairobi.
Right.
It's a very big budget, but we're just saying in terms of being able to give people an idea, right, of what are we really talking about. But genuinely, you would be, let's say if you're somebody where it's like, I don't want to go out and I just want to eat at home every day, you could do this for 8,500.
Ooh, yeah. Thank you for breaking down those numbers like that. It makes it very like tangible. And the thing is, I just want to share with people who aren't familiar with, or not aren't familiar with, but aren't in the US. So a manicure and pedicure, which Rita just shared the price point for that in Kenya, here in the States would easily run at least $75. And that's really on the low end.
And that's on the low
end. And
that's on the low
with
end.
poor service and attitude and like somebody talking about you in another language. And so then the other piece to this, you brought up a massage. Yeah, $45. Definitely
for 2
not.
hours, and they come to your house.
Absolutely
And they
not.
come to your house.
No.
No.
So in the
No.
States, first of all, you'll have to go to the location. It's going to run you at least about $200 an hour. You might be able to find something that's like, maybe 99 to 125 maybe an hour. But yeah, a 2 hour massage and they're coming on location, they're coming to you. Absolutely not. No, that would cost a ton.
Yeah, I got one coming tomorrow, guys. Like,
wow.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. When we're really thinking about what we're able to offer. And again, right, this is also now where you understand why it's called medical tourism, right?
Exactly.
It's not just called medicine and it's not called just tourism, right? Part and parcel of being able to come to these different countries, in particular coming here to Kenya, is you should be able to enjoy everything that we have here, right? You should be able to, like, let's say, for instance, let's say you come here and you don't even want to cook every day by yourself. We can get somebody to come and cook for you every day, whatever you want. You know, like I have some friends who are here right now in town right now. They've got 2 little girls. And I was like, you know what? Let me send my house girl over to you guys. And why don't you guys go on a date night and she'll watch the kids? And I remember Nancy was like, Rita, what are you talking about? I was like, she'll come over. I was like, if you want her to make dinner for the girls, hang out. I was like, go and enjoy our city. We've got a beautiful city. We've got great food here. The weather here is fantastic.
Mm.
Fantastic. And it was funny. Last Friday, she took Irene, and imagine she landed again today. And Irene's over there already. She's like, yeah, let me go take care of the kids.
Oh, I love that. Man,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Really quickly, Rita, I'm just going to pause briefly because my next question actually is with regard to whether or not there are financing options for these services. So that's what's coming up. But I want to pause because we have some ladies in the chat that have been shouting you out. And I want to make sure that we acknowledge them. And ladies, please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. So I'm going to apologize in advance if I mispronounce your name. So first and foremost, the first person to check in, actually from Nairobi, Kenya, is Enrica.
Mm.
Again, if I didn't pronounce that correctly, I apologize. And then Alice checked in. She said, "Good to see you, Rita." And then Shantae Parker, she checked in and she was basically saying how beautiful Kenya is as well. And then Joyful Journeys Africa, Kenya Travel and Tips is here as well. So thank you all so much for tuning in live and engaging in the comments. If you have any questions for Rita, drop those as well. If you yourself have benefited from medical tourism in Kenya, drop that experience in the chat as well. So, Rita, back to you. Are there opportunities to finance any of these services? Now, I already know that they're super inexpensive, right? We're clear on that. I get that. But let's just say that someone, oh, okay, Allison. Okay, I'm sorry, Allison. So, Joyful Journeys Africa, Kenya Travel and Tips. That is Allison tuning in. So, thank you for being here, Allison. So, I do realize obviously it's super affordable, right? But let's say that somebody's like, hey, I'm liquid strapped, but credit rich, which is the case for most Americans. We have tons of credit,
We can
but
get credit.
very little cash.
Yeah.
So, are there opportunities to finance, or is this something that, I mean, clearly we're talking about life-changing things, right? So, is this something that we just need to save up for and have the cash?
So one of the benefits for us is because we are also associated with our businesses in the States, we can offer payments by credit card. So
Nice.
you're going to get a lot of places here, like for instance, where they're going to ask for the cash or they're going to ask for a bank transfer. And that can be very hard, especially for us in America where we're so used to living on credit. So one of the options that we do provide for our clients is the ability to pay by credit card. We also allow for them to be able to pay it in payment plans. And then we
Mm,
also have kind of like a first attender type of program where let's say you call me and you say, you know what, Rita, I really want to come. My knee's been bothering me and I need to get a knee operation. And it's like, okay, fine. What we can also do is that we put you onto you come on board, right? So argument say you tell me, Rita, I'm going to be there in June. Okay, cool. What we can do is you sign on board ahead of time and you can just start paying towards it ahead of time so that when you
mm-hmm.
do get over here, everything's already sorted and set up for you and the funds are already there. So we do
Yeah.
offer certain things like that. Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Wow. That's excellent. So even having again, I already know this is super affordable, right? Like this is definitely, if you're comparing especially costs for folks in the States, hands down, what Kenya has to offer as it relates to medical tourism, there's no comparison. It is more affordable.
Yeah.
But to know that even if you are in a bind and you're like, yes, it's affordable, but I just don't have the 10K to drop on this trip and to get this done, well, now you know you can finance it. And again, I mean, if you think about it in the States, if you were to finance it in the States, it's going to be the fees are going to be so exorbitant. You'll just be swimming in debt forever. But
Yep.
financing a 10K charge, for example, you can literally probably pay that off in a year or less, if you're
Yep.
very diligent about saving and paying
Yep.
that debt down.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that's exceptional. I'm blown away. And I want to get into, I found a report by the UN Trade and Development Economic, or it's called Economic Development in Africa report or something like that. Now, this is from like 2017. And
Hmm.
even back then, Kenya was rated as like one of the top countries for medical tourism. So my question to you is like, what makes, in your opinion, right? I know you've already shared kind of like the sites and obviously the facilities and things like that, but could you just kind of, again, affirm us in what makes Kenya a preferred destination for medical tourism?
Sure. One, we're a very big international city. This is a city where everybody is represented, right? The UN sits here, USAID sits, well, former USAID. A lot of the international organizations from a lot of countries all are here. We get a lot of foreign investment that comes in. We get Japanese investment, Dutch investment, American investment, Swedish investment. So we have a lot of people from all over the world who are coming in. Because we have all of that coming in, our security is also very safe, right?
Excellent. Okay.
We have places where, like, for instance, I'm not going to lie to you. Look, I've lived everywhere and I've grown up in a lot of different places. Obviously, you know, you're not going to do anything dumb, but this is a city where it's really relatively safe, right? And then also the places where you stay. So for instance, my apartment building is also a UN sanctioned building, meaning that our security is at the level that the UN would approve of, which
Oh,
allows for you to come
wow.
in. So we've got a lot of safety. And the reason all of the safety is because the country doesn't want to, you know, lose all of this investment, right? You lose all the
Exactly.
investment and everybody's gone, then what else are you going to be able to have? So our safety is a really big thing. Another really
Okay.
good thing about being here is everybody speaks English.
Okay.
Everybody speaks English, okay? You're gonna have even like your small guy who's sitting on the side selling like some small fruits and vegetables, he's gonna be able to speak English. And so that's why we have a lot of people coming here from other English speaking countries, right? The Brits are here heavy, Australians are always coming in, US is coming in. And so English, because English is spoken widely, it makes it much easier to be able to move around here. People are also just very friendly. Okay. Again, marketing and media makes it seem, but honestly, anybody you ask, if you come to Kenya, people are very polite, people are very engaging, and people are very warm and welcoming. Okay. Now, let's just even get into our medical standards, right? Because we have such a large international community here, and because we do have so much investment here, it behooves all of these different clinics and healthcare facilities and hospitals to also have equipment, safety procedures in line, making sure that the machines are high quality, making sure that the drugs that are coming into the country are licensed, making sure that they are actually what it is, right? Some of the issues that we have in a lot of these parts of the world are drugs are fake, right?
Yeah.
They're sugar
Yeah.
pills and they're telling you they're antibiotics. These are certain things that we don't really have. We have a lot of different agency here where they oversee a lot of this, right? With our nutraceutical business, for instance, we are regulated by the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, and they are a very thorough agency, okay? Just for us to be able to list our supplements on this, we've got to show them manufacturing procedures. What are the ingredients? We have to get third-party testing on our products to make sure that the products are what they say that they are. We've got to make sure that they have the specific analysis to be able to bring them into the country. And so why am I telling you all of that? It is to let you know that this country does take it very seriously,
Yeah.
that the stuff you're doing is legit. Now, are there bad players in the market that give this place a bad name? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's in every
Okay.
market.
Yes, that's everywhere, right? But that's also one of the reasons why you would want to use a business like ourselves, right? I am a barred attorney in the States. I have worked very hard for my law licenses. I am not messing up my law licenses doing funny business, right? So
Exactly.
this is to be able to give our clients peace of mind where it's like, no, 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 she's legit. Even over here, like right now, I'm in the process of a certification. It's an international certification for medical tourism. And the reason
Mm.
why we're doing that certification is, again, to give peace of mind to our clients that we know what we're doing and we're going to be giving you the best service. Also, we only partner with people who are licensed and accredited in the market. Like I
Nice.
said, there's a lot of bad players in the market, okay? We go to a lot of the conferences. We go, and you know what we all do? We all talk. Okay, we all talk. We know the doctors and the clinics that advertise a lot, but their internal procedures are garbage. Okay, I'm not sending you there. I'm not sending you there because I wouldn't go there. You get what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
we only partner with that. Even for us, we have partnered with one of our advocates here who specializes in surrogacy. Her resume is phenomenal. Okay. I'm a lawyer. I thought I was doing something. I went to a law conference last weekend that was specifically dealing with surrogacy and family law practice issues. Before she was a speaker. She was one of the speakers for one of the segments, and the moderator like just read her resume, and I was like, oh, like I knew she
Wow.
was learning, but to actually like hear it, and it just again like just reaffirmed that we are partnering with people that are doing what they're saying they're doing. They don't want
Exactly.
any problems. I don't want any problems. You're not going to have any problems.
Oh my gosh. No, I love that. I think that the importance of having an advocate like yourself on the ground, I think that's understated oftentimes. I don't think people understand how intimidating it can be to go into a country, especially when there is a language barrier, which, again, as you have already stated, is not a problem in Kenya because people do speak English in Kenya. But, people are traveling to the DR, like you mentioned early on, or any of these other places, Turkey, for
Turkey.
example. I know a lot of
Yeah.
men are going to Turkey for dental care and for the hair implants and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
do you know how risky that is? That you are
Yeah.
having to communicate something as
Yeah.
serious as like dental procedures or,
Yes.
again, hair implants, any sort of major surgery. You're having to communicate that through a translator. Do you know how scary that is? I mean, literally, one misunderstanding could completely change your life in the worst way. I hate to say that. And so, being in a nation where if you are an English speaking person, you're able to very clearly articulate yourself directly with the physician, not having to go through some third party translator. I think
Yes.
that that needs to be like highlighted. And then also just the comfort of working with someone like yourself. I mean, for example, Shantae shouted you out and she said that you are an amazing concierge. You know all the things to give people a great experience. And so I want to
I do.
just say that, like, that cannot, I want to make sure we shine a spotlight on that, right? Because I can vividly remember, and I think I shared the story with you, Rita, when I was traveling to France for the first, well, not the first time, but when I was traveling there to stay long term for a couple of months at the time, I was terrified because at that point my French was not that good. And again, it was going to be my first time staying there for such a long time. I traveled solo. And so someone introduced me to someone else who had been living in France for over 3 decades.
Oh.
And I kid you not, when I got on the phone with her, all of my anxiety, all of my nervousness, it literally just dropped off, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
all of the things I was concerned about, like I had looked into paying for this very expensive chauffeur service where they would come and pick me up from the airport because I was too nervous to navigate the metro system and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. And she was like, no, you don't need that. She literally just walked me through, like, this is what will happen when you get off the plane.
Yep.
This is where you need to go to catch a cab. This is, I
Yep.
mean, like, walked me through, even went as far as checking out my Airbnb, right?
Yep.
She literally went to the community, came
Yep.
back and told me, "Hey, I don't feel like this is a great spot for you. Let's work something out."
Yep.
And then I ended up renting her place, which is absolutely fabulous. But my point is, I think people need to understand having an advocate like you, someone that has boots on the ground, is very important. It's an invaluable experience. You really cannot put a price
Absolutely.
on that. And so, yeah,
Absolutely.
I just want to stress, like, and
So
especially when we're
that
talking about medical stuff.
that is definitely, and I'm glad that you actually really brought that up, because one of the things that makes us different from a lot of the other concierge services, we are really here.
Yeah.
If you come on board, you're going to meet me. Hey, you know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
And I take it very seriously. I'm glad Shantae shouted me out with my planning and concierge skills. You know, I am a good time and I know how to
Yeah.
have a good time. And I'm really good at curating an experience for people. I think it is imperative that you have somebody on the ground. Even when we do consultations with people, we let them know, you know, these are the clinics, these are your options, and you're more than welcome to contract with them and do all of that by yourself. No problem.
Exactly.
But when something pops off, when there's an issue,
Yeah.
don't call me later, you know, because again,
Exactly.
yes, our, you know, English is spoken here, but not, you know, to put it kind of bluntly, right? You got to know how to speak African. Okay.
Okay.
The same way you got to know how to speak American. You know what I mean? Like very
Right,
really,
right,
right?
right.
Because culture is
Right.
real, right? One of the reasons why an American, when you see another American outside, you're like, oh my God, is because, okay, I know where we came together. You get what I mean?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so let me tell you, like I said, I've been coming to Kenya my whole life. I've been coming here since I was like 5 years old. Okay. So when I moved here, it wasn't like a shocker. It wasn't like, oh my God, what are you doing? Right. It's like, no, my aunt lives there. That's where we went
Exactly.
and we did all of that. But even that, living here, starting a business here, let me tell you, it took me a solid 5 years to speak African. You understand what I'm saying? To
Right, right.
understand what certain things meant, right? Because my Kenyan brothers and sisters, they'll say something and you're like, is that a yes or a no? Right? They'll be like, it's fine. What's fine? It's
Right.
fine. Fine is like, yes, it means yes. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
For instance, in the States, we're very used to people communicating very quickly via email, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I've sent you an email yesterday, I'm expecting you to respond back to me by tomorrow, right?
At
Let
the
me tell you,
latest.
around here, you might not get an email at all. And then
Mm-hmm.
you'll follow up, then you'll follow up, and you'll follow up, and then you have that, right? So one of the things that really sets us apart from other concierge services and medical tourism services is that we are here. We are actually here. We've
I
got a
love
team
it.
that's on the ground, and same, exactly. Let's say there's an Airbnb you really like. We're gonna go check it out for you. Make sure it's like what it's supposed to be. Let's say
Nice.
you're like, Rita, I'm not sending you anywhere to go eat, drink, party, get any of your lady things, man things done where I have not personally gone myself. I am a person who prides herself on really being in the streets and really understanding what people are doing. I'm a people person. I enjoy meeting new people. I'm a person who asks a lot of questions. I'm not somebody who's embarrassed easily. I'm not someone who's intimidated easily. And so all of that really does help as kind of just being your like bestie when you come over here, right? I'm kind of your like your auntie. I'm your best friend. I'm your lawyer. I'm going to be your advocate. Let's say you call me and you're like, I didn't really like that. Don't worry about it. We're going to sort that out for you. And that's part and parcel of our services. Like I said, you're welcome to contract overseas and do whatever you want. Great. But when
Exactly.
you don't enjoy the country, when you don't enjoy your service, when you feel like you have not gotten everything that you were expected to have, make sure you spin around the block and come find us.
I love it. And Allison put a comment saying, and Kenyans do not RSVP with some laughing emojis. So, like you said, Rita, understanding these cultural nuances, right? This is the I don't want to say the stress. Well, I mean, this is the burden that you're lifting off of people. If
Absolutely.
you're already probably under some level of stress or again nervousness because you're there for medical reasons. Why
Sure.
wouldn't you take advantage of an opportunity to work with again a seasoned advocate who will make sure that some of these heavy lifts and these little nuances don't get in the way of you getting the treatment that you
Absolutely.
need and deserve. So, yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, I think that, for me, it's clear that this is a no-brainer and it's clear as to why Kenya in particular is the premier destination, especially on the continent of Africa, but really even on a global scale, it's definitely a premier
Absolutely.
location. So,
Absolutely.
what I want you to do now, Rita, is paint a picture for people who are interested in working with you. So, like, what does that look like? Is there an initial consultation? Now, with my group,
Yeah.
with my folks, who are tuned in, I'm going to put a link in the description so that way you can submit your contact information to Rita and get in touch with her and all that good stuff. But once that initial outreach has been made and that connection's been made, what does this process look like working with you? Could you just walk us through step by step?
Yeah. So I want to get to know you, right? So let's say
Yeah.
you initially you hit me up and you're like, "Hey, this is what we're looking at." First, what we're going to do is we're going to set up an hour consultation and we are going to get deep into it. I have a questionnaire that I send out and you're going to fill out that questionnaire depending on what kind of services you want, and that's just more for me to kind of have an understanding of who you are before I meet you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, people are much more dynamic in person than on paper. So we're going to
Yes.
have a 1 hour consultation and we're going to talk, and everything is confidential. I do take, as like our attorney client, client privilege. Like
Yep.
what we talk about is what we talk about. I do take that very seriously. And so I definitely
Nice.
implement that in the business. You could tell me your business and nobody's going to know your business. And the reason
Exactly.
why is the more open and honest you're going to be with me, the better it's going to be able to serve you. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
The more you let me know some of your little small things that you like, don't like, what you need, what you know, all of that, it makes it easier for me. Now, after we've had our consultation, let's say that there's some sort of specifics that pop up. So for instance, the other day I had a consultation with a client and she really wanted to make sure that the subsequent child would have Portuguese citizenship.
Mm.
I just so happened to have a law firm that I've worked with in Portugal in the past for a few years. And it was very easy for me to just be like, you know what, let's do a follow-up. Let me go and talk to these Portuguese lawyers and really see what that entails for you so that you can make the best decision. So also
Mm.
part of our consultation is a free follow-up on any questions that might arise in our consultation. After that, you're going to onboard. And then in our onboarding, conversation, we're going to have our contracts that we're going to have in order. And now we're going to really just break it down what we're going to do. We'll figure out your date and time of when you want to come here. And now we're going to do all that front end work. We work with partners in the market right now that do a lot of that for us, meaning that figuring out your flight plans, getting your visas in order, what are you going to need when you come here? And then we're going to get your housing and all of that sorted. Now, you're going to fly over. Then you're going to let me know. I'm going to be able to pick you up in a car service. If you want to have an extra additional service where they actually pick you from even before you clear customs and immigration, we can actually set it up for you that somebody meets you before. And then they literally just whisk you all the way through. You're going to get out
Wow.
and then we're going to check you in. And now once you've checked yourself in, once you're sorted, depending on what time of day, I'm going to give you the day to relax. If you are coming from the West, the time zone difference is a lot. We are at a very high altitude. So for people who are not used to high altitude, the first day sometimes can be a bit challenging. You might get some headaches, a little bit of dehydration. So we really just want to make you feel calm and feel secure. Okay. Kind of what you said, right? If you've never really traveled, if you've never traveled abroad, if you've never come to Africa, because of the marketing, it makes it feel like this is like the worst and scariest place. And
Exactly.
it's not, you know what I mean? So I want to be able to give you just kind of like that feel. Now you're going to get in here. The first thing, we're going to have to look at what your time is. But for me, I like to get all the work stuff done ahead of time. Now we're going to go and hit up our clinics. We're going to make sure everybody sees you. And sometimes what I do like to also do, even before you come to the country, let's say you want to maybe meet one of the doctors on an online call so you can see them before you come, we're also able to set that up for you.
Oh, that's
So that
amazing.
way you really get to see who people are. So you're not coming over here and it's like, well, I didn't know who that was. I didn't see that person over there. That's what we're going to do. If our work entails having to meet with our advocates, we're going to make sure that all of those meetings get done so that all of the people who are going to be responsible for your safety, your security, and also making sure your paperwork and your documents are done, you're going to see them all. And then we're going to get to our procedures. And then we're going to start getting into it. Now, for instance, if you're going to be taking us on board for your surrogacy, a lot of people obviously do not get, about 10 months off unless you're doing a sabbatical. During that time, I am literally your proxy, right? I am here for you. So let's say you say, you know what, Rita, I want my child to listen to classical music on Wednesday. I want blues on Thursday. I don't know, and R&B classics on Saturday. We're able to do that for you. We're able to make sure that your surrogates are doing exactly that. And then also, let's say for instance, and I'm saying the surrogacy portion more just because that's a longer involved amount of time.
Okay.
Let's say every doctor's appointment that you go to, you're going to be able to see the scans. If you want to be in that at that doctor's appointment, we can FaceTime you in, just so you can
Wow.
feel as attached to it while you're far. Because I do realize, right, a lot of people now who are engaging this, maybe you've had a lot of challenges, maybe you've had a lot of unsuccessful transfers, maybe there's been a lot of issues, so obviously you're at a more heightened emotional state. I really want to be able to give you that sense of security and peace of mind. Like, don't worry, okay? You've paid
Mm.
me. Let me take on that burden for you. I got you. And when we're done with it, I want you to leave happy and I want you to feel like, okay, she really did what she said she was going to do. I take pride in my word. And so if I tell you I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. If I cannot do it, I'm going to tell you I can't do it.
And I want to affirm you in that, Rita, because you and I, we were introduced to each other when in 2023.
Yeah. We were supposed to meet a while back. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm sharing this to say that I remember when we met, I was so overwhelmed. I had so much going on, and I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I probably can't even have a real conversation with you until 2024.
Yeah.
And you were like, okay, what date in 2024? And I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like that it just blew me away because I'm like, wow, like, normally somebody would be like, oh, this girl's trying to blow me off, which I was not. I
Mhm.
was being very honest. But what
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
appreciated is that we literally put a date on the calendar. I mean, and just for context, this date was probably about 4 to 6 months out in advance, right?
Yeah.
And so we put a date on the calendar. You literally followed up with me
Yeah.
around the time that we were supposed to meet. And I kid you not, I was blown away. I was like, you know what? This person is serious because
Yeah.
I am very time sensitive. And
Mhm.
so I appreciate when I meet someone else who also respects time and putting things on the calendar and like following through. So I just wanted to affirm you in that and let the
Yeah.
viewers know. No, Rita is serious. Like she's the real deal, guys. If you all have set or scheduled something, you can be
Yeah. I'm
rest
gonna call you.
assured knowing that she's
Yeah.
going to follow through.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much been how our like relationship has been this entire time since 2023 is we put something on the calendar and we
Yeah.
move forward. Even with this, we
Yeah.
scheduled this out months in advance. And again,
Yeah.
as usual, I had way too much going on. I was in South Africa for a month. You
Mhm.
still checked in with me and was like, hey, we still doing the thing. We're doing the thing. And here we are. So no, I just wanted to shout you out,
Thank
and
you.
let people know that like you are the real deal. This is why I felt very comfortable and really privileged to interview you on this platform and talk about this because even me, just from our, from a social
Mhm.
perspective, even I have
Mhm.
benefited from your professionalism and your commitment to respecting people's time. So you
Thank you.
all know you have a real advocate. Like you truly have a real advocate, a serious professional in your corner when you work with Rita. So Rita, with that being
Thank you.
said, I'm looking
Mhm.
at the comments, by the way, just to see who all's here. Hey, Brother Mo, shout out to Brother Mo. He's in the building. And then Shantae said, that's Rita all day. Her word is her word. Facts. That is so true. I mean, I definitely have benefited from that. And I respect that because we're living in a world where people are just talking for the sake of talking and there's never any follow up. But I can honestly say with Rita, that has never been the case. If we say we're going to do a thing, we've done that thing. I'm
Mhm.
just reading through the comments really quickly to make sure we didn't miss anyone. So, yeah, Rita, again, thank you for being here. Are there any final words, if you will, like that you would like to share with people who may still be on the fence, like, oh, I just don't know, it's so far, or it's, Kenya, I don't know anybody. Like, just any
Yeah.
final thoughts? Because somebody is out there thinking that, like, I mean, I hear,
Absolutely. Most
yeah,
people are. Most people are. Just call me and just do a
yeah,
consultation. Okay. The
exactly, yeah,
consultation is the least, or actually, it is the easiest way to get the most information to be able to make your most informed decision without making the investment of coming to Kenya, without having to do any of that, right? Just call me and let's talk. Let's say there's something that has been on your mind because look, a lot of us, we're always thinking of stuff, right? We're always thinking about something and it's like, man, I should think about this. What about that? Stop thinking about all of that and just
yeah,
make a consultation with me. In 1 hour, at the end of that 1 hour, I guarantee you the questions that you have will be answered. And now it's only going to be up to you. Do you get over that little hump? Because you know that once you've gotten to that hump, the answers are already there. You've already got all of it. So now it's just taking that leap of faith. And that leap of faith should be easy because you also know you're going to meet me on the other end of it.
exactly,
I'm not going to leave you out here by yourself. Okay. I'm not going to be like, oh, you're coming into town. I got something else to go do. I don't run myself like that. That's not how we do it. My team doesn't work like that. Once you're locked in and once you're in our books and now we know exactly what it is, our time is your time. You've paid for it. You're going to get the service. And for us, we're very, very big on customer service, right? Like I've told you, I've
yeah,
traveled everywhere. I've been everywhere. And a lot of the things that you learn from doing all of that travel is, how do you make this easier for somebody who's a newbie, right?
Exactly.
I'm not a newbie, right? Like I be in the middle of the jungles, okay, all the time. I've had girlfriends being like, "What are you doing? That's crazy." And it's like, no, I have to see, I've got to see these orangutans. I've got to see them in their natural habitat. You get what I mean? And all of that to say is that I'm really good at what I do. I really enjoy helping people get what they want, right? In this life where everybody's always telling you no, 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 I'm giving a lot of ladies, a lot of infertile couples, a lot of our friends in our LGBTQ community, I'm giving you like a Hail Mary. It's not no over here, right? No, I've always said it since I was like a defense attorney. No is just because you haven't found a way to say yes to me. And I'm going to show you how to say yes.
Ooh, honey, powerful closing statement. I mean, no, seriously though, I just love how you articulated that. And I'm listening to you, and then I'm looking at the comments too. And so Betty too. Oh, first, I'm sorry. Brother Mo said, if my sister Maria co-signs Rita, then she's solid. Yes, she definitely is.
Thanks.
Betty Tube said Rita is definitely the real deal. Met her twice in Brooklyn, where I'm from, and had the best time. Oh, that is awesome. Yeah. So, okay, if you all don't have any more questions, I am looking at the time. I had promised Rita that we will be on here for an hour. We're like 10 minutes over almost. So, really quickly, you all, any final questions for Rita, just so that you all know? Obviously, this recording is going to stay on YouTube. It's not going anywhere. So, you can go back and watch. If you came in a little later, you can go back and watch from the beginning. And I will include a link in the description where you can actually fill out a short form. That form will ping Rita's email, and then she will be able to connect with you. So
Yep.
do not worry about that. You will definitely have that as soon as we end the live. But in the meantime, does anyone have any questions for Rita? Like literally maybe just one or two questions before we log off. So Rita, I'm just going to pause for a moment just to see if anybody else has any questions or anything
I
that
mean,
they.
girl, we were thorough. We got all the questions answered. Do you
No, for
understand?
real. Yes. No, you are exceptional at this. So yeah. So far I'm not seeing any questions come through. Shantae Parker said that's cousin. Uh Let me see. Anybody else? I'm just scrolling to make sure I didn't overlook anything because I do see quite a few messages were in the chat early on, but I think I got everyone. Yeah, I think we're good. So again, I'm just waiting now literally for a minute. You all, if you have not already, please like this video so that way we can make sure that the algorithm does what it does best and points this video to other people who need this information. Mo asked, are you based in Kenya now?
Yes.
So go ahead. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
So
I'm
she's
here.
there.
Guess what, Mo? I had monkeys on my balcony earlier this morning. So yeah, I am here. I'm here.
Oh, okay. Shantae asked a really cool question. Shantae asked, what is Kenya particularly known for in terms of procedures? That's a really good one.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So I will be honest. I don't think that there's any one thing that Kenya would be known for, but I know that we are known for our hospitals and the quality of care that our hospitals provide. And you get the quality of care from the hospitals also because you know that the doctors and the nurses and the staff are also very well trained. I'll give you a story. I had a girlfriend of mine who used to work for the Red Cross, and she
Mm-hmm.
was based in DRC Congo, and she was very far south in a very small village. She got really, really sick, and they couldn't deal with her. They Red Cross actually airlifted her, brought her over here. She literally was staying right down the street from me. They did everything. They went to Aga Khan Hospital, and they got everything done. And the
Wow.
reason why I'm bringing that up, right, is Red Cross is an international NGO. It's known in every single segment of the world. So imagine if the Red Cross, that's known for helping during disastrous times, also knows that they're going to bring their patients and people who are sick to Nairobi, Kenya to get the help that they need,
Yeah.
that in and of itself lets you know that the quality is here. So I can't really say, do I know what Nairobi is known for? It's a good question. I could definitely look into it, but I definitely do know for a fact Aga Khan Hospital is one of the best hospitals in this country.
Mm.
MP Shah, Nairobi Hospital, They're fantastic facilities. I had a personal issue. I had a ovarian cyst that popped. And I
Mm.
remember I was like, oh God, like, you know, I had not been to the hospital at that point. So I was like, I don't know. And it was like right in the middle of COVID. I was terrified, y'all. And I was like, well, you got to go to the hospital. It was the best experience. Okay. It was the best experience from beginning to end. Like I said, I grew up with a doctor. So I've been going to hospitals my whole life. I know how they work. To be able to see that they were able to give that same level of care that I know that what I was used to, and that I went in there and I was immediately felt calm and felt relaxed. And I was like, okay, good. They're going to take care of me. Let me know for a fact that I have no problems recommending to other people that this is the place to be if you want to be able to get any of these services done.
Yeah, I definitely want to just emphasize that care piece. And I see that Betty Tube had also put in the chat, hospital and care are huge. The reason why I'm saying this is because, especially as a Black American, when you're
Mm-hmm.
in the US and you're seeking care, that is one of the biggest complaints, right? Oftentimes the physicians
Yep.
don't look like us. And so there is this very stoic kind of interaction with, or maybe I should say, like this stoic look from your physicians where there's just no connection. You can't connect with this physician. And so, therefore, that actually makes you feel even more nervous about an already serious matter because
Absolutely.
you're like, is this person really going to care for me? Or am I just another patient on the docket and they're just kind of running through their day? And so, I think that care piece is 100% super important that we just kind of speak to, and the fact that you felt so comfortable in a very
Yeah.
scary moment, right?
Yeah. For a
That
fact.
speaks volumes. And so there
No,
were
like I was
people,
on the phone, like, Mom, I don't know. Mom, help me. You know what I mean? And
wow,
then when I went, I was like, oh, okay, Mom, no, I'm good. I'll call you back later. Let me just get this done. So yeah, definitely. And also, you know,
wow.
like I said, I know we had kind of said, and we didn't really touch on it, but um, I know you have a large audience in South Africa. You guys are all very welcome to Kenya. Karibu tena. You are very, very welcome. I know that there's very good care in SA, but maybe you might not like it and you want another opinion. Just come. Just come.
Yeah,
You are
exactly.
welcome. And Kenyans, we love South Africans. We love your wine as well.
Exactly. And I'm just reading the comments, Rita, because as you were speaking just now, people were dropping some comments. So, okay, so okay, so Shantae was basically adding more to her initial question about what procedures are Kenya most known for, and she was like, for example, in Colombia, they're known for the BBLs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Brother Mo asked if Kenya is a destination for hair transplants.
Not yet.
Okay, so not yet on
Not yet.
that one. And
Not yet.
then Shantae was basically saying that, is it just that marketing? Okay, is it just marketing and word of mouth, meaning that is that what's lacking? And she said, and there isn't much of that for Kenya and African countries for the reasons we all know too well, which is, yeah, I have to agree, Shantae, is probably that issue. Um, Okay. And then Betty too, she was just basically agreeing with you about the care and the experience at the hospital. She said that's huge, especially coming from the medical experience here in the States. Yeah, I mean, it's deplorable. In fact, there was a case that just got settled. The couple was awarded, I think they were awarded 20 mil. No, I think they were only awarded like $3 million. But this happened in Georgia, very traumatic situation. Black American couple, lady, the woman goes into labor. She has the baby. Unfortunately, somehow during delivery, the baby's head was detached, right? I'm just going to use that instead of using the medical term. And the physician like recorded a video or something, like did a live stream talking about this.
Ugh.
And so they just settled out of court behind this, right? And it's like you think of that, how egregious that is. This woman and her partner went through this very traumatic experience of not being able to bring home a healthy baby boy that they anticipated having, and then on top of that, having to live with the fact of knowing that the physician who was supposed to be, again, providing care, helping them through this very traumatic experience, actually made a, spectacle of the matter and treated their baby as if the baby was just an object, another science course, basically, that,
Mm-hmm.
so, or part of a
Mm-hmm.
science course. So what I'm saying is, again, that, that okay, yeah, Brother Mo said $3 or $4 million, which, I mean, as we all know, you can't put a price on that kind of trauma. This is something that is going to scar that
Yeah.
couple presumably for the rest of their lives, right? Very,
Absolutely.
very sad incident. um
Absolutely.
but yeah, I'm saying all of that to say once more, Rita, to your point, the importance of that care piece, going into a facility and being able to connect not only with the physicians, but connect with you, which is why I love what you said. Part of the process of working with you is you getting to know the person that you're talking to. That's
Sure.
very important, right? The
Right.
more that we
Absolutely.
connect, the more comfortable
Absolutely.
we are. And so knowing that they can greet you, you'll be basically one of the first, if not the first person that they'll greet upon entering the country outside of the
Yeah.
airport. I mean, what is there to lose here, you all, other than the fact that if you don't take advantage of working with someone like Rita, then you will lose out on that care, that comfort, that, connectivity, that sense of knowing that you're taken care of when you get to Kenya. The sense of knowing that the physician that you're working with, or the facility that you're going to get your services or your procedures, are like vetted, thoroughly vetted,
Yeah.
and accredited institutions
Yeah.
and physicians
Absolutely.
and things like that. So, anyway, we could go on, but again, Rita, I just want to say thank you so much for making the time. And I know you're super busy. I pinged you like maybe 5 minutes ahead of time. I'm like, hey, can you jump on like 2 minutes before we're supposed to get started? You're like, oh my gosh. So, thank you so much for just being so flexible. Thank you for just being your own amazing self. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Just
Thank
really
you for having
appreciate
me.
you.
Thank you
Oh,
for
no, it's a
having me. And
pleasure.
same. Thank you for you also like respecting time, getting it, and understanding the vision and what we're really trying to do. It's been a
Yeah.
real easy. It's like like you said, we met in 2023, but I feel like I know you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And you've
yeah.
made this really, really easy. It's been really easy to just hang around and talk with you. And so thank you for allowing me to speak to your platform, speak to your people. Thank you for taking this time and really like breaking it down for the people. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh
Thank you.
no, the pleasure is truly mine, seriously. And Betty Tube said, "Thank you, ladies." Yeah, thank you all, sir, for showing up live. You all could be doing anything in the world, as my favorite rapper Jay-Z says. You could be doing anything in the world, but you're here
The
with us.
world.
So, thank
Exactly.
you so much for being here and engaging in the chat, asking your questions, sharing your own experiences and feedback and things like that. So, thank you all as well. So,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to end this live now. And
Perfect.
every time it's time for me to do this, I feel like such an auntie because I never remember how to do it, although I've done this a million times already. But let me
Hilarious.
see if I can, I know, let me see if I can figure it out. All right.